hands. Woohoo! Oh my God, I had the pleasure to introduce this amazing lady. I met her 4 years ago, and we are like sisters now. I love her. She had a beautiful heart. She's so friendly, loving, always helping, always giving. And a year after she was in the business, she's 4 years, after a year, she tricked her daughter, Sabrina, to go to one of the big events. And Sabrina was finishing, she's graduating from nursing school. So when she went to the big event, she said, hey, Mom, I don't think I'm going to do nursing. I think I'm going to do this business. And guess what? After 3 years later, working together as a mom and daughter working in the business, she got to vice president. And then now, her other daughter is here today, Jessica, for the first time. Now she's doing the business, and they're going to work together. But this lady sells, recruit, and build. And I'm so proud of her because she's always trying to do the best. She's doing even estate planning now, and she's doing amazing. So please stand up, and let's welcome Marni Frank. Woohoo! Marni!
Hi, y'all. How you doing today? Aren't y'all happy to be here? This is like so amazing. And go figure, I'm listening to all the speakers before me, Mark Assetta, Andy Albright, and I'm sitting here going, wow, you would have thought that I wrote what I'm going to talk about today based on listening to them speak, right? Because really, guys, it's really about getting over your fears, right? I mean, I'm going to be totally honest with you. Like, I'm standing up here now. This was a big fear, okay? I am so glad I get to do this first thing on Saturday morning because now I can relax and enjoy the rest of the weekend, and I don't have to worry about this anymore, all right? So a little bit about me. Olga, I love Olga and Jason. They are the best. Actually, Jason called me out of the insurance agents list, right? And I actually turned him down twice. I was with another company. We don't want to mention that company. And I was like, no, maybe I'll just do some guaranteed issue with you. I don't want to, move and stuff. But he stayed on me. He was persistent. And then I started to, I call it dabbling. One day I had to pick Jason up from the airport and take him to a hot spot in Tampa, right? And I turned to him and I was like, I think I'm going to start doing this, like really doing this full time. Because I thought, because if I didn't have another job, that I was actually doing this full time. The biggest joke on our team is that my full-time work was 67 dials. And I was like, but I'm not doing anything else. That's full time, right? So 67 dials. I got to get my clicker over here. 67, that was it. I thought that was full time. A week, yes. Obviously, my results. So I wasn't doing very well, okay? But I really didn't have a need. So we had, I turned down 2 events, and then we had family reunion. And I actually asked my daughter, as Olga said, to go with me. Not only did I ask her to go with me, she didn't know, but I said, great, bring your credit card because you have to pay for it too. Okay, so I bring her, we're sitting there the whole time. I said, you're in nursing school, you can do your homework, you can do your work, I really don't care, meals are included, so just go with me, I don't want to go alone. So what did I do? I grabbed a best friend, I grabbed a support person to go with me, right? So we didn't talk about the alliance the whole time. We had Vanilla Ice there, it was such a party, but we didn't talk about it all because she was in nursing school. And I also wanted her to finish nursing school, right? We're not quitters here, so I wanted her to finish that, and what she decided to do was up to her, okay? On the way home, we're driving back because we drove up to Burlington from Florida, and on the way back, she said, I think I can do this. And I turned to her and said, do what? And she was like, the insurance. And I was like, all right. And she went home, got her license, passed her test, did everything within a week. And we said, okay, let's do this. I think I went down and visited Olga and Jason for some training. As Andy said, totally right. Get around those people. You have to get around the people that you want to be like. I love it, and it sounds not so nice. It's often said, if you are around 5 losers, then you're the 6th loser. Okay, you do become a product of who you hang out with. So I actually ran down to Olga and Jason's house for that. That was a whole different story because at that time, I had bright red hair. I mean, I'm talking bright fluorescent red hair. If you ever met Olga, which I'm sure you know, the most pristine woman, everything is in place, beautiful nails, beautiful hair. Her house is the same way. I was afraid to sleep in the bedroom because the pillows had white pillowcases, and I would get red on them. I didn't actually know whether or not it was cleaner for me to walk around the house with no shoes or walk around the house with shoes, okay? But I did a ride along with Olga, and you're gonna hear a little bit more about that, right? So, this is me, I have to click. Okay, so today I'm gonna talk to you about doing a ride along, right? And I'm gonna talk to you about doing a ride along about what held me back, what holds most people back. Obviously, this is a boot camp and Army training. I, of course, could not go with those brown slides. They had to become pink. If I could have done pink glitter, I would have. So we got pink Army slides here going on now, okay? So this is one thing, Dale Carnegie, it's on the books of what you should read list. Inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer your fear, do not sit home and think about it. Go out and get busy. It literally took a year for me to start getting busy. Okay, so this is a picture. I just wanted to share with you some pictures of my team. Okay, this is a various group of us, all on different ride-alongs. You can see Olga in there, my daughter in there, several of our agents in there, right? So what we cultivate, Sabrina and I cultivated a team. We call ourselves Team Rise. We didn't want to be broken up into, well, we're Gemini, and you're Leo, and you're Dana, and we felt you had to work together, right? We want to lift each other up. So we became Team Rise. We all help each other, and that's the feeling that we want to cultivate within our organization. So we always promoted ride-alongs. I felt that they were a great way to do training, a great way to learn your agents, how your agents learn you, right? So in today's briefing, we're going to go over enlisting, okay, which is overcoming the fear of joining in the first place. Some of us are sitting there ready to join, sign up, and now we do absolutely nothing. Okay, so we're going to get over that fear. We're going to go through the drills of how to prepare and how to strategize. Okay, you just don't go into anything without a plan. Okay, then we're going to go into deployment. We're going to take the tools and the resources that we acquired, and that we're going to go into battle, okay? We're going to go into combat. And then, of course, there's the retreat and the reflection that comes after that, okay? And then we have to reflect on it. What did we learn? What did we take away? What am I doing next? How can I improve, right? And then solo missions is when you go out on your own. It's scary, but we have to overcome these fears, right? We got to get out there. We got to do it. I'll be honest with you. I'm standing here today, okay? You just got to get out there, and you got to go for it, okay? So let's start with what an entrepreneur is, okay? An entrepreneur is a noun. It's a person who organizes and operates a business or businesses taking on greater than normal financial risks in order to do so. So can we all agree we are people? We are organizing a business, right? This is a business. Is anybody in here doing this just because they love selling insurance? No, right? We're doing a business. We're out there to make money and to grow. And we're taking on greater than normal financial risks, right? Some of us have part-time jobs. Some of us have full-time jobs. Some of us have no jobs, and this is the only thing we have going on, right? So we're taking on financial risks, okay? Starting something new is often scary, Being an entrepreneur is totally scary because you have nobody to fall back on. It's basically you. And I applaud you all, and you should applaud yourselves for taking this risk and taking this chance to start something and change your life. Because becoming an entrepreneur is not a social norm. Okay? Going to work in corporate America, getting your 401k, getting your paycheck on Friday, that's the social norm. So when I first started this business, I told you I started with another company, right? So I went to an interview. I didn't know what I was going in for, but I went to this interview and I found out, holy crap, this is for insurance. And it's a group interview. What the heck did I do? All right, well, I had nothing else to do, so I sat there and listened. And I thought to myself, questioning myself, full of self-doubt, this actually sounds okay. I can create a legacy. I can create something for my kids, which was always my plan. So I love that it worked out that both of my daughters are now doing it with me, because honestly, I was already like 50 years old or so, and I wanted to do something for them. You know, everybody is going to die, and some leave behind some money, but I wanted to leave behind a bigger legacy. I was creating a business that I could leave with residual income for my children the rest of their life. And I could create it, and it just goes straight to them. So what do you think the first thing I did when I found out, right? I had to call my family because I had to make sure it was okay, right? Because we always have to make sure it's okay. So thank God they were like, well, I really kind of think you would be good at that. So give it a try. And I'm like, are you sure? I just don't know. And I luckily decided with their support and help that I would do this. Okay? A lot of you don't have that support and help because I told you that the social norm is not to do it. Most people are going to talk you out of doing it. Be secure, support your family. You hear stories up here all the time, all day long. We heard one last night, that you have to sometimes step out of that social norm to be that someone special. Okay? You don't see many people working 9-to-5 jobs that are out there like, wow, they're really special. They stand out. Okay, so if you want to stand out, and again, I congratulate you for being here because it's scary out here. Okay, I had so many things running through my mind. What if I'm not good enough? What if I don't sell anything? What if nobody believes in me? What if I don't believe in myself? I mean, it's scary, right? So lack of encouragement and outright negativity creates more self-doubt. So you got to get around the right people. Okay, you have to conquer your fears in order to succeed, okay? So there's 4 main fears, and I was really happy because Andy had one up there just right before. Number 1, fear, right? Fear, fear, fear. So there's 4 main fears. Fear of failure, success, which surprisingly is about the same thing. They're not different. Fear of uncertainty, fear of rejection, and fear of not being good enough. So fear of failure and success, putting yourself in situations that give you awareness of what you don't know, better what is good to know to get to where you want to be, because who knows what they don't know, right? You have to get out there and you have to be around what you want to know, okay? So putting yourself in situations, that's your step 1. I told you I got into insurance by accident, but I made sure as soon as I got into it, I surrounded myself with, with Olga and Jason. I got around them. I got around the team. I went on a ride-along with Olga and took care of that. As Theodore Roosevelt said, it's hard to fail, but it's worse to never have tried to succeed. Okay, so failure. What is failure really? Okay, it's hard to fail, but it's worse never to succeed, and those failures hold us back. So just so you know, Thomas Edison found 1,000 ways that the light bulb didn't work. Dyson tried 5,126 prototypes before they invented the bagless vacuum cleaner. Abraham Lincoln lost the 1858 Senate race, and everybody grab onto your seats. Michael Jordan didn't make his high school varsity basketball team when he first tried out. So what makes all those people successful? Certainly not their failures, but they didn't quit. The greatest words that Olga ever said to me, and I pass on to every agent that I have, is just don't quit. You're gonna have highs, you're gonna have lows, and the object is just keep them in the middle, okay? Because you don't want those highs to ride you so high that you forget where you came from, and you don't want those lows to discourage you. I would say you gotta keep just going, okay? So, fear of rejection. Everybody fears rejection. Everybody wants to be accepted. Sometimes you have to look at it and say, what is the worst thing that is going to happen? Okay, coming up here today, what's the worst thing that's gonna happen? They never asked me to do it again, right? I'll survive. I might hide in the hotel room the rest of the time, but it'll be okay. Okay, so, thank you. So most of the times we settle, and we don't get out there and we don't try. So the ride along, what the ride along does is it's trying something new, which is scary, but again, it's bringing along your friend. It's bringing along somebody. I just went on a ride along, I think it was about 2 weeks ago. I had to drive all the way down to Fort Lauderdale. I live about an hour north of Tampa, to meet an agent. Again, we were invited to stay at Olga and Jason's house. They're very gracious. They have a very nice home to stay at. I stayed down there and I met this agent and we went on a ride along. After the first appointment, we walk into the first appointment, she goes, oh my God, I never could have done that without you. It was not an easy appointment. You know, they're not all easy. I wish they were all, you walk into the door and they say, oh, thank you, I'm so glad you were here, I was waiting, where do I sign? Okay, just does not happen. It's happened, but doesn't typically happen. Okay, so we went through that. It was a difficult sale. There was a lot of chaos going on. We wound up getting, we were there to see the mom. We wound up getting some policies for the daughter and her family. But the agent was like, I would have been so overwhelmed. Most agents, I find, when they go into a home and somebody says, I already have a policy, they say, oh, okay, well, thanks. And they pack up their stuff and they leave. When I hear somebody has a policy, I'm like, that is awesome, because that means they believe in the product and at least you know they buy life insurance. Now, as Eric Belair was saying, a lot of those are Colonial Penn, some other companies that you know we have a much better product. And we have 40 companies worth of products. So I never encourage you to take anybody out of a good policy, okay? But there are a lot of crappy policies. And there are a lot of people out there thinking they have whole life policies for $1 million and they actually turn out to be accidental. They do not know what they have. So you just have to go in there and you have to have the confidence. But without me being there and showing this agent how it's actually done, she wasn't comfortable doing it. So I think going with the agent overcomes that fear of rejection. Okay, I work on with my team, we call it the 3-2-1, but I really call it the 4-2-1, that you're actually gonna go into you're gonna book, 4 appointments. You're actually only gonna sit 2 appointments, and then you're gonna sell 1 of those. There's a lot of failure in there, no? But they don't look at me as a failure. So when we leave a house and we don't get an appointment, it's not like, oh God, this day sucks, I'm out of here, let's forget it, I quit. No, it's like, all right, and I'm gonna go into how it goes in the ride along, what we discuss and what we do, but it's move on to the next one. Okay, don't expect to get every one. So fear of not being good enough. A lot of us fear that we're not good enough. All growth starts at the end of your comfort zone, according to Tony Robbins. Y'all know who Tony Robbins is, right? Yeah. All right, so he said it, it must be true. And I must have seen it on Facebook. Okay, so we all struggle with not being good enough. Okay, having somebody in your back pocket telling you you're good enough, you did a great job, goes a long way. I was sitting in the audience just before this, and at least I had my kids, I had Olga, they were like, you got this, it's gonna be okay. I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. They said, you got this, don't worry about it, okay? Thank you. So what I try to be for people is a safe place. As Olga says, I care. I work from my heart. I want everybody to be happy. I hope nobody faces adversity. I hope nobody gets rejected. I mean, holy cow. One of our downline, his first appointment, he called from Dunkin' Donuts, and somebody actually threw coffee at him. I'm dead serious. I was like, and I was like, okay, well, did you get wet? You're going to be okay. What's your next appointment? I said, we're okay. So you're going to have these moments, but I want to be the person they call. It's okay. It's okay. Did you get thrown out of the house? Did the police come? No, then you're good. Okay? So I don't let these fears dictate my life, because the fear of standing still is scarier than the fear of facing some of these adversities you're going to have. So, enlisting. So are we ready to go? We're in here, right? This is what we're doing. Okay, we're going to go on a ride along. So first we're going to enlist. How do you enlist? Okay? As I think it was Andy was talking about, and Mark addressed it a little bit, you have to earn a ride along. Uplines can't come in and spend days with every single agent. We just don't have the time. We're trying to run our own business. You have to earn it. You have to be above the rest. You have to have a positive attitude. Who wants to be around a Debbie Downer all day? And it's not my job to convince you that this is something that you can do. Okay? So positive attitude. Be on all calls. Again, Andy was just talking about this. You have your team calls. You have your trainings. We have Jeff Bright calls, the TWC, the product call, the activity call. We don't do those calls so we can hear ourselves talk. I don't do sales training for me. Then nothing is more discouraging than when you do a sales training on something and your agent comes to you the next day and says, I don't know how to do this. Well, we just covered that on Tuesday. Where were you? Nobody wants to take the time needed to educate themselves and show that they're all in, right? So be teachable and coachable. Nothing is worse than when you're talking to somebody and you tell them, I think you should do this. No, I don't want to do that. I'm doing that. Or, did you know this? Of course I know that. Then why didn't you do it? Okay, you need to be open to your mentor. Most times you need to just be quiet. Just listen. And you know what? You're not going to agree with everything. Trust me, I don't agree with everything Jason Mathis says, but I do go, yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly. And then I turn to Sabrina, I go, what the hell was he talking about? But you just have to be open, teachable, and coachable. And your mentors know, your uplines know who you are. Okay, don't think you're hiding it. We know if you're putting in the time, if you're putting in the effort, if you want to learn. Okay? So doing what you say you're going to do. How many people in here, it's like you sit there, it's like, I'm going to make calls. You don't do it. I'm going to see you on that call. They don't show up. I'm going to, be on the Jeff Bright calls. They don't. And then they show up. It's like, oh, this isn't working for me. It's like, well, what are you doing? What are you doing to make it work? Being an entrepreneur, let's go back to that. It's like the insurance business. People not one person has ever knocked on my door and said, hey, I hear you sell life insurance. Can I buy some? Okay, you have to get out there. You have to be persistent. This is a proven method. Okay, one of the funny stories I had with Jason when I first started out was I told him this does not work. He said, all right. I said, it doesn't work. I said, you know what? I'm going to prove to you this doesn't work. I was one of those people. Don't ask me where I got the courage to say this. I said, I'm going to do everything you tell me to do. I'm going to make those 300 dials. I'm going to do them on Monday and Wednesday. I'm going to book as many appointments as I can, up to 40, and I'm going to do it. And I did it. And holy Hannah, it worked. It worked. I tried to bucket that I knew better. Let me tell you, Andy has built a process. If you just follow it, kind of like baking cookies. If you follow the recipe, you can't mess it up. Okay, but you gotta follow the recipe. You gotta do what your upline is telling you to do. They've been there. We don't come up with things. I have agents come back to me all the time and say, oh, this happened. And I'm like, yeah, I know. What do you think? You're the first? It happens to everybody. You're no different. Everybody starting out knows nothing. Everybody you see on this stage started exactly in the same place. And if in 3 years I can be talking to a group of people about something that I know in this business, you can be up here too. Okay? There's nothing different about me. I was older, I was in my ways, and I can do it, you can do it. So, thank you. So there's the drill, okay? The structure or training in military exercises, and it's as in a routine, right? This is all this is learning the drill, knowing the drill, seeing the drill, and doing it over and over and over again. Repetition brings confidence, okay? So let's go on our ride-along. Y'all ready? Okay, so there's a lot of strategic things that go into this ride-along thing. So they wanted me to give you the let's hop in our tanks and let's go do it. So we're gonna go do it, okay? So first there's leads. I mean, we gotta go see clients, right? So whose leads are we using? Are we using my leads? Are we using your leads? Okay? There's a big difference on whose leads you're using because somebody's got to buy those leads, somebody's got to call those leads, and somebody's got to book those appointments. Okay, so I'm going to get into, by whose leads we choose, how we get to the last one, splitting commissions, because I know you're probably all focused on that one. Okay? So what to wear. So this is one of my funny stories while I was at Olga's house, right? We're going to go out that morning and we're going to go do a ride-along. So I put on a sundress, my flat little jelly shoes, my hair's done, my makeup's done, and I walk out of the room and I see Olga and she looks at me, you going to wear that? And I was like, am I not? And I looked at Olga, and Olga is one of those people, as you can imagine, that she could wear anything and look good. Okay, so she's wearing a pair of jeans, a polo shirt, a baseball hat, perfect hair and nails, makeup, of course. And she has a backpack. Oh, I forgot, I have a Michael Kors tote, and she has a backpack. And I looked at her. Now, whose way of dressing is technically right? I was not inappropriately dressed. Olga was not inappropriately dressed. But we're trying to combine a cohesive appointment for two, right? So you can't show up to go on a ride-along wearing something that looks like you just, were at the gym in, and meanwhile, or a three-piece suit, and your upline's just wearing casual wear. So you need to have this conversation. It's important. Did you guys know that first impressions are made within like the first 5 seconds? So you want to show up looking like a cohesive team, okay? And it doesn't matter. If your upline does not tell you what to wear, then you should ask what to wear. Okay, ask them, what are you wearing? What should I wear? We're in Florida. A lot of agents in the summertime want to wear shorts. And I'm like, I wouldn't wear shorts. How long are you outside? But, hey, you can do you. But when you're riding with me, we're gonna look like a cohesive team, okay? So what's the schedule? Where are you meeting? Are you driving or am I driving? Whose car are we taking? Are we stopping for lunch? All right? So you have to come up with a schedule. Do I need to bring lunch? Do I need to bring water? And please, you see on the bottom, be early, be prepared, be ready, and be professional. If you are there on time, you're late. If you're especially running with your upline and they graciously said, I'm running appointments today, you can come with me, you better make sure you don't interfere with that schedule at all because your upline typically knows what they're doing. They got their schedule. They are not going to wait for you. Okay, so you need to be there on time, be ready with exactly what you need. So what do you need? We need to bring everything you would need for an appointment. You're going on an appointment, right? You're not just going there to look and watch. You want to look like you're professional. So you should have your own bag too, whether it's a backpack or a Michael Kors tote, that's up to you. But you should have a bag. What should you have in that bag? First of all, we need our printed leads, right? So if you were the one in charge of making the appointments, you need to have each of those leads printed out, ready to go. Not I have to go look for them, let me pull them up, have them all printed out, have them all in order. Then we need to have a notebook. I mean, you're there to take notes, right? You're there to learn. You're not going to remember everything sitting there, so at least look productive and be taking notes on what your upline's telling you or showing you that you should be doing in the home. So have a pen, obviously. Have your ATM with you. You're bound to do an appointment, right? If your upline is proficient and good in what they do, they're just not going to let you sit there and watch all day. Their object is to get you out there selling, right? Give you the confidence. Have your delivery pads. If somebody doesn't show up, when I went on my ride along this weekend, and this is why it's good for uplines to do these too, I totally forgot about that. And we had a no-show, and she's like, hold on, let me leave the sticky note. I was like, oh yeah, leave that sticky note. So she leaves the sticky note, and lo and behold, the person wasn't there and did call her back and say, I am so sorry, something came up, and they rescheduled the appointment. But it's really good for the uplines to do this too, because we forget to do things too. We are not perfect. Splitting commissions. Now, let me just start by saying some uplines do, and I say uplines and downlines to keep it simple, but it might be a downline you're going with. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but just so we all understand what we're talking about, right? Uplines and downlines. So keep it simple, and I lost my train of thought with that one. Oh, splitting commission, the money. All right, so if they're my leads, I ran them, I bought them, I called on them, and you're just running with me. Oh, I was starting by saying some uplines don't do ride-alongs, and I'm not here to say they have to. I was asked to talk about it, so here I am, and I happen to do them, probably why they chose me. Okay, so you ever have the people that, I'm one of those people that I want to help you, I want to show you, I want to make sure you're okay. And then you have that uncle or something that when you go to swim, throws you in the deep end and says, go figure it out or you're going to drown. That's not me either. So I can't tell you which is the right way or the wrong way to do it. I can only tell you the way I do it. Okay, so I don't want anybody saying, well, she said this. I don't know. This is the way I do it. Okay, so splitting commissions. I know I'm getting there, I promise you. So if I'm running the leads and they're my leads, I paid for them, I bought them, I called them, I made the appointments, and I said, you know what? You can run with me today. Stay quiet, come, do everything we spoke about. I'm going to keep those commissions. It's my work. They're my leads. They're my money. And I'm gracious enough to say, sure, come and shadow me. What if they're your leads? And this is, again, where it gets a little bit dicey. Because what I normally do now, because I don't run as many appointments as I used to, because I'm doing the estate planning, so that takes up a lot of my time, and Medicare. So that takes up even more of my time. So if somebody wants to do a ride along with me now, I said, okay, we need to call leads, and you're going to do that. Either I'll provide them, or they're going to buy them, however we make that arrangement. But as a upline, I have every right to say, well, let's split those commissions. Right? But I have never done that. If my downline is showing me the enthusiasm of going out and getting those leads and making those appointments and booking them, I am more than happy to go with them and help them. And I give them all the commissions. Okay? What your upline chooses to do is up to you. And then there's the splitting. We had agents that were in an area and they dropped out. So they were a couple hours away. We said, you know what, let's take all these leads together and call them and let's just split everything. That works too. It's just a communication and an understanding you need to have with your upline, and don't assume anything. Be clear on what the expectations are And if they wind up splitting something with you or throwing something because you did do the work on that, then that was really nice of them because they didn't have to do that. They're there to teach you and educate you. And that's what their time is worth to you. Okay, so the car ride. We started in the car ride. We don't just listen to music and like nothing ever happened and like we're just gonna show up at this appointment and be like, hello, here we are, we're gonna sell insurance. No. So what I like to do in the car ride is I call it the art of communication. You would not believe the amount of people that can't have a conversation. Don't know how to start it, don't know how to finish it. So what I try to do, first of all, is I want to get a feeling of who I'm going into battle with, right? So I have a conversation. I ask them a lot of questions. What got you into the insurance industry? What family do you have? What brought you to Florida? Just a bunch of questions, and we have a conversation. And then after about that 15-minute conversation, I turn around and say, wow, I've learned a lot about you. And they said, oh, that's good, hopefully, you know. And I say, what do you know about me? And 9 out of 10 times, it's nothing. And I'm like, well, weren't we having a conversation? And the reason I do that is to make that point that a conversation goes two ways. So then I ask them to have a conversation with me and ask me questions, find out about me without interrogating me. Because the next system is they'd sit there, it's like, okay, what brought you here? What do you like? What is this? I said, that's not a conversation. So then we're practicing conversation. Okay, also on the way there, what I'm trying to do is prepare them for the meeting. You know, agents, everybody's different, right? We can agree that. Everybody's different. So I'll go into the meeting, I'll be like, okay, so we're going into our first appointment, no matter whose leads they were, and I say, how do you want this to go? Do you want to take this appointment and I'll just sit back seat, make sure everything's going okay and be there in case you need me? Or do you want me to do it? I'll be honest with you, 9 out of 10 times they say, oh no, you do it. Fair enough, I'll do it. I won't do it all day, but I'll do it. I say, awesome, and we go in there and I'll do the appointment and they will watch, learn, and as Jason Mathis says, copy and steal everything. Unless I do something bad. I was once in an appointment, well, I'll get to that story when we leave the appointment, but I had a funny story to tell there. I didn't even know what I did, but it was not a good thing. Okay? So no shows. Is that like, oh crap, that sucks. Let's go home. Let's go to lunch. How about lunch? I'm hungry, let's go to lunch. A no-show is not a failure. It's not a reason to give up. And a lot of things can be done during the no-show. First, you're gonna leave a delivery notice. Okay, we're gonna talk about maybe what, if the no-show could have been prevented by how you booked the appointment. Okay, but even if you're great at booking appointments, they're gonna happen. I told you, figure half. If you're doing better, great. But it should be probably about half that are not gonna show you. But we have other things we can do, right? What are some things we can do? We can call and make more appointments. What was that? Absolutely, we can door knock. We can call appointments. We can look at our pendings. Awesome, we can look at our pendings. I mean, there's work to be done. In there is not, let's go to the mall. Okay, and you have your upline with you, so we want to make the most of this time. But what about just one-on-one training? What about some more conversation? Okay, so we want to use that time. It is no way a bust. I always like the story of when you go to the door. The biggest thing on my new agents is they go to the door and they won't let them in. And they're like, I'm like, what did you do? I left. Okay. So there's nothing better when I have the lead in my hand and they say, no, we don't want this appointment. And I take the lead, like the superhero insurance agent. Is this you on the lead? And then they're like, yeah, well, and I show the agent then how to get around that objection. There's learning on everything you do when you're going on a ride-along. So We have the appointment. Hopefully we got a sale. Of course, I want to get all sales just like you, and I want my downline to have a win. So as an upline, I'm nervous that, oh my God, what if nobody shows up? What if we don't get any sales today? So I'm nervous about that too, and I want you to do well. Okay, so back in the car ride on the way home, we're gonna talk about what happened, why we didn't get it, why we got it. I ask my downlines, what did you see? What could I have maybe done differently? Do you know I once had a downline tell me the client got upset and they said, well, yeah, you rolled your eyes. And I said, I did? No, I did not roll my eyes. And they said, yes, you did. And I said, oh my gosh. And ever since that day, I've made sure not to roll my eyes and keep my facial expressions to myself. Okay, so we learn things too. I had no idea. So, a solo mission, right? This is the next step. What is the next step? I call it the solo mission. Eventually, you're gonna go out by yourself. So when I do the appointment the first or second time, which is the way it generally works out, sometimes they want me to do the third and fourth time too, but I'll do it a couple of times. I always have the agent do the e-app, regardless who's running the appointment. It's great training. They get to start asking the questions, and I make sure that they are asking the questions properly. Okay, what do they say? Inspect what you expect. Right? That's right, Jason Mathis? Inspect what you expect. Okay, so you're making sure that they're doing it the right way. So I always have them do it so they're not just sitting there looking like a pretty picture, on the wall. I have them do the e-app. So the solo mission is when you're ready. You can only go so many days. I've had agents that every single time they went out, they went with a different agent. They just couldn't do it on their own. But eventually you got to get out of your comfort zone, and you just got to do it and figure out what the heck is the worst that can happen. They don't see you, they don't buy, they throw you out of the house, whatever. So put your upline in the know. It's like the verbal ride along, right? Assemble your reinforcements. When my agents go out, I say, you call me, you let me know, you let Sabrina know, start a group text, let Danny know, whoever your upline is, let them know. I have a button on my phone, so does Sabrina, that if somebody calls me and I'm in an appointment, I hit it and it says, busy, please call Sabrina with her phone number. We will make sure you are taken care of. Okay, your upline is not going to leave you high and dry, and if they cannot be there for you, they will make sure somebody will be there for you. So let them know, put your reinforcements in place. When do you call? It depends on your comfort level. My agents typically call me after they do their introduction, after they learn about the client. They call me and say, hey, this is Scott, and I'm sitting here with Mr. Jones. This is what Mr. Jones has got going on. I just wanted to call and get your opinion on this. We don't go, well, what are you, an idiot? You couldn't figure it out yourself? No, we don't say that. We say, oh, that's great, and we figure out the product placement. Don't call and tell your upline where you're putting it, because if that is not the appropriate place, because remember, you don't know a lot yet, it will not look good on you or your upline, because I can't let you do something that's going to get declined, right? So it's better to just ask, and then you say, oh, that is just what I thought. And we say, of course it's what you thought. It's perfect company for them, okay? So how do you address your product specialist? You address us in a professional manner. It's not like, hey, Bob, how's it hanging? What's going on? You went out Friday night? And then I don't know you're with a client. It's always professional. Hi, this is John. I'm sitting here with my client. I'm looking for some assistance. When you go to a car dealership, do you ever not see the manager? As a matter of fact, they take your keys, so you can't leave, okay? So also, I want you to call. It's basically the 4 basics. Call from the home or pick up a check. Fill out that green sheet, do the ERS, and recruit across the table, right? So if you're not getting that sale, even after you spoke to your upline and they told you where to put it, you need to call back. Not call back after you leave the home and say, oh yeah, but I left. Well, what are we supposed to do then? I've had agents say that. Should I go back? And I'm like, no, you can't go back now. Oops, I forgot this. But call from the home. Oh, I'm sorry, I wanna close out your lead here so nobody calls you anymore, because if I don't close it out, then it just goes on to the next person. I'm sure you don't want to get any more calls. Let me just call my manager and just sum up what we did here. They're not gonna say, no, you can't do that. So you wanna still call, because we have techniques, and I'm sure somebody else is doing a talk on that, okay? So I just have to quickly say, because there's no way I thought I was gonna last 45 minutes doing this, just so you know. So how does this help the mentor upline? Field support. We are sending out our agents, self-confidence, and conquering our own fears. I told you I had fears, how I would look, how I'd come across. What if I didn't make any sales? What if I didn't do things right? We care. As we look invincible, trust me, we are not. We are just like you. Quality control and proper training. We're creating the proper people to follow with us. We make money while making money, and we clone an army. Thank you.
That was so good. That was so good.